Welcome to the Rocky Mountains 2023. Let's go get some photographs. Well, 2023 is over, and I can't think of a better way to finish the year than by crossing off literally my first photography bucket list item. So we start off this adventure in Toronto and we fly all the way to Calgary, 4.5 hours. Well, it's not 18 degrees here. My first night, I get a chance to actually visit some loved ones that I haven't seen in over a decade, and then in the morning, we're off. I knew that I wasn't going to catch the sunrise in Lake Louise, so we pull over and I see this cool factory, and I got a time lapse of the smoke coming off the stacks with the light coming up the hills, and during that time I got a couple of cool pics of the moon coming down over the mountain range on the other side of the lake, and we met a couple of cool friends from back home, took a couple of portraits for them, and then we were off to Lake Louise. Here we are, super exciting, at the trailhead. A lot of people here, even though it's winter. I could only imagine how busy it would be in the summer, so this is probably a good time. I've seen this shot on Instagram before. So Lake Louise itself is only about a 2-minute walk from the parking lot. Now, most people stop their journey there. They're like, okay, we saw Lake Louise, and they head out or venture a little bit further. I suggest if you're gonna come all the way to Lake Louise, block off at least half the day, because you are definitely going to enjoy hiking to the top of the Beehive if you can. I could see somebody doing that hike maybe in 2 or 3 hours to the top and bottom. It's not that long, but I will say the hike itself was steep and consistent. It wasn't super hard, but it wasn't easy. And along the way as well, to the top of this Beehive, you get a couple of really cool photo opportunities. The first is this mirror lake where you can see the Beehive itself. Everybody just cleared out of this spot, and the sun is starting to light this up like no tomorrow. I got a couple landscapes, a couple of portraits of people walking through by there, and then made my way further up to Lake Agnes, where you have an iconic tea shop, which we didn't get to experience because it was closed for the time of year. And then that lake was frozen over, so you don't get that water shot. But I did get some shots of people interacting with the environment there. Again, definitely a cool spot to stop. And they have this little creek that's running through. And when you get to the top of this Beehive, you see that Lake Louise from the top and the Fairmont in the distance. It is just such an epic, I was exhausted and at the same time just full of adrenaline. I did find it hard to get a good composition of a wide angle, and this is where I found it was actually more beneficial to zoom in and take pictures of the mountain ranges in the back. They had this really cool little either a ranger cabin or a lookout cabin or something there, and just seeing that in this view makes the scene look epic and monumental. It's just one of those humbling places where you feel so small. After that crazy hike, I decided to take it a little bit easier and start the day off with an area that you don't have to hike to. I showed up early enough to get the nice light, and it's looking good. We better get busy, and I'll put you guys on the action cam so that way you can see what I'm doing. So I come here trying to get that morning light on the peaks, hoping to find a train coming down these tracks. You guys might have seen that iconic shot everybody comes for here. Unfortunately, this stop didn't pan out the way I was hoping to. Our friends have been here for over 3 hours. It still hasn't came. They saw a truck go by, so I'm having this feeling like they aren't running the trains because something's on the tracks. My fingers are crossed that we're gonna get this before the shadows disappear. So I've got this set up right here. We've got this tripod here with the camera. I'm gonna try and set it up and capture that train. It's coming from the other side. I got the bucket shot, right? I got the train coming out of the mountain range, but it didn't come at the time or the light that we were hoping for. Ultimately, I had a good time there. It was a great way to start the morning, and we headed off to Emerald Lake, which was the last spot reaching BC. On that journey, I made a quick little stop actually for coffee in a town called Field, and I took some pictures of the Pacific Railway train there. Just a really beautiful little logging town sitting this ginormous valley, and then made our way to Emerald Lake. The lighting again is just, I'm just having the most fantastic time. Oh. But anyways, just met with a wedding coordinator. This place seems awesome. We did a little tour around. Now I got a bit of time to capture these mountains before those shadows disappear, before that light goes down. Oh my God, it looks beautiful. First morning at Emerald Lake Lodge was absolutely astounding. Now, I decided not to vlog that day because it was wedding day. I wanted to share that morning with you. It was the best morning of photography. And if you guys decide to stay at Emerald Lake, I suggest you get up for that morning walk. We got this thick morning fog, and I was going to pass by the first viewpoint, but I decided to turn around before first light and set up that tripod, and I'm glad I did, because we got this epic shot of like the fog just coming out and opening the peaks, and it was almost like the light was just kind of like trapped in the fog. And then we finished our way around. We got awesome cool shots of the lodge, and a couple of awesome shots of the groom standing out on this rock ledge with the mountain range in the back. Just some of my favorite shots, hands down. And then day 4, we wake up and it's snowing. Regardless, I decided I needed to take a hike. I had a few hours in the morning to kill, and there is a close little waterfall called Hamilton Falls. Unfortunately, this time of year, it was frozen. It obviously was not a waterfall with a heavy flow. Being that some of the larger lakes are still open, I thought that the waterfall would be flowing, and it wasn't. So we captured a couple of cool little photos here while we were here. Why not? Fortunately, the rest of the trip was amazing. The light just turned out epic every time I turned a corner. It was kind of unfortunate that I only got to spend 3 days out there. If I ever do come back, I'm going to block more of a time, like at least 5 to 10 days there, because there were a few places like Banff and Johnston Canyon and Moraine Lake. Those places would be ultimately just as epic probably to visit. So next time, the only other photo suggestions I have from this trip is bring a wide angle and a telephoto. I brought the 24 to 70 equivalent for the APS-C, the 16 to 55, and it was great all around lens, and I was able to capture a lot of nice shots. But there was many times where I kind of wish I had something wider, or when I was zooming in that I had a little more reach with. As well, if you guys aren't from Canada or the mountains, I suggest you bring some warm clothes. One side of the peak to the other, it could be such a difference. If Weather Network says it's -6, it could be -20 just a little bit down the road. So make sure to dress, bring appropriate clothing. Buy yourself a heated sweater, you'll thank me. All right, so if you guys have any questions and comments, make sure to put them down in the comment section below, and I'll see you next time. Peace.